What's up, Prizefight fans? I'm Brian Tong, and the 7-inch tablet category remains one of the hottest right now, so we're facing off two primetime powerhouses. It's a Prizefight punch-out between Apple's iPad mini and Google's Nexus 7. Our judges for this fight, just one, it's Sing-a-tong. I'll score each contestant on its own merits round by round. The final Prizefight score will be an average of all rounds using the nearest tenth of a point. Hold on to your butts, round one is design. The iPad mini brings Apple's unmatched design with an all-metal body that takes cues from Apple's iPod Touch line. It's comfortable and light to hold with its 7.9-inch display that's larger in size. But its biggest drawback is its 1024 by 768 resolution that looks alright, but it just isn't a Retina display. Now, Google's Nexus 7 is still one of the best looking 7-inch tablet designs we've seen to date. Its beveled edges with a griffy perforated backing feels more comfortable to hold compared to the Mini, and its 7-inch screen pops with a higher 1280 by 800 resolution that's visually sharper. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I'm calling this a tie at 4.5 points apiece. Next round is controls and user interface. The iPad mini brings iOS 6 that's snappy and intuitive and is still the easiest pick-up and play interface on planet Earth. The home button has multiple functions to access current apps and a few basic settings, or you can tap it for Siri. Even if it gets the job done, iOS hasn't evolved enough, and I want more beyond a notifications pull-down. Now, the Nexus 7 brings Android's Jelly Bean, and it's a legit OS that can stand on its own. It's super clean and snappy while bringing Android's staple customization with widgets that are resizable and a dock for your apps that let you also drag icons on top of each other to create folders. Notifications are still here when you swipe from the center, but swiping from the top right now brings you quick access to your key settings. This comes down to preference, but Google takes this round with a 4.5 and the iPad mini gets a 4. So after averaging 2 rounds, the Nexus 7 leads. Next round is features. Both tablets bring Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and front-facing cameras, but you won't find any memory expansion slots here. The Nexus 7 comes with 16 or 32 gigs of storage and an NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core processor. It steps up its feature set with Jelly Bean's Google Now, which delivers relevant information like weather, public transit, and nearby businesses based on how you use it. Google's voice search and commands are second to none, and it's faster and more accurate. Plus, its maps are more reliable right now, and it includes Google Street View and public transit options. Now, Android Beam lets you exchange data with 2 nearby devices when you tap them together, and its Google Play Store may not be on quite the same level with apps, but it's still a legitimate offering. Plus, Jelly Bean 4.2 is coming to the Nexus 7 and will be bringing gesture typing to trace over your words instead of typing them out, and multiple user accounts on just one tablet. Now, the iPad mini comes in 16, 32, and 64 gig flavors, but disappoints with an older A5 dual-core processor that lags behind their other product lines. It brings its own voice search with Siri that has a prettier interface when you're looking for sports stores or restaurants, but it's just not as accurate, and its response time lags significantly behind Google's. Apple brings their own turn-by-turn directions with their Maps app, and it does the job for some people, but we know about its issues, and it still has a long ways to go before it regains my confidence. You can also view the content that's on your iPad mini to a television set that's connected with an Apple TV if you live in the Apple ecosystem. And it's really Apple's ecosystem that might be its greatest asset here, with unique apps and games that make the iPad more than just a tablet. The Nexus 7 still shines here and takes this round 5 to 3.5. Next round is web browsing and multimedia. Google's Nexus 7 brings one of the best mobile browsing experiences even without Flash support with its Chrome browser that brings features like an incognito mode for private browsing. The iPad mini brings Safari, which is just as solid of a browser with a snappy pinch and zoom, and brings features like cloud syncing of bookmarks on other devices and a clean reader mode. Video quality looked great on both devices, but I'd give the Nexus 7 just a little edge when it came to Netflix and YouTube streaming with its higher resolution screen. Now, Apple's iTunes Store also gets an edge here because of its exclusive content deals, but Google Play still has a robust library of its own media content. Both tablets have front-facing cameras, but Apple differentiates itself here with a 5-megapixel rear camera that also shoots 1080p video mode and a panorama mode that works really well compared to third-party apps, and it continues to push the taking pictures in public with an iPad movement. The iPad takes this round with a perfect 5, and the Nexus 7 gets a 4. So after averaging 4 rounds, the Nexus 7 still leads by 0.2 of a point. Round 5 is performance. Both of these tablets feel fast and snappy to navigate, even if their processors are different. In our video playback battery drain test, the Nexus 7 gave us just over 10 hours of video playback compared to the iPad mini that chimed in at over 12 hours, and that's the best battery life out of any of the 7-inch tablets on the market today. The iPad mini gets a 5, and the Nexus 7 gets a 4. So after averaging 5 rounds, we're tied. The final round that decides it all is value. The Nexus 7 16GB model starts at $199. The iPad mini 16GB model starts at $329. Now you could even purchase a Nexus 7 with 32 gigs and mobile data connectivity for cheaper than a base model iPad mini, and this is really one of the first times where Apple's pricing seems to really be out of touch, especially without a Retina display or a current processor inside of the mini. The Nexus 7 takes this round with a 4.5, and the iPad mini gets a 3. So let's average out all 6 rounds, and in a battle where the Nexus jumped on top early, but the iPad mini fought back to even it up, it was the price that made the biggest difference, and the Nexus 7 takes this battle 4.4 to 4.2 and defends its title as your Prizefight winner. I'm Brian Tong. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next week for another Prizefight.